Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on a midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. So today what we are going to do here is I'm going to break down the Fox News interview that Kamala had. And I'm going to point out a lot of the things that you missed out on, because you see a lot of the people, they like to, just focus on the surface things. Because if you remember, she was running on the race card. Remember, she was trying to do the Obama thing, but then the people discovered that, they started questioning if she is black, and tapes start showing that she's not, right? So if you notice, she laid off the race thing. So pretty much what they are showing it to the people is people are dumb and they're just gonna go with their program. So if you look at Kamala, everything that she says is scripted. The way she acts is all scripted, and that's very dangerous. Like, do we even know who the real Kamala is? We have no idea. If depending on where she goes, she changes the way she speak, she changes her accent. But let me do my fair use here, and I will break down this video, and I will point out things that the media themselves, well, they don't want to point it out. I mean, it's very obvious, which explains why she is losing, big time. So they want to create a divide and conquer, where they say, oh, it's because she's a woman. I mean, imagine that. So let's say they are doing the gender divide thing. So if I'm a man, you're telling me if I don't vote for a woman, that makes me a bad person. If it's about gender to gender, isn't Trump a man? So it makes absolutely no sense. And the dead giveaway also is she's been the vice president this whole time, right? So they're presenting her as a new candidate. Because if you look at it like Trump, he's talking about how he did the last time. And they try to play people as if Trump was never president. And you would see all that in this interview. Yes, Fox News themselves, they're not going to point it out, as obvious as I'm going to do, because they just presented her to us for us to see for ourselves. And this is it's not one of those things where some of these people come, they'll be like, oh, how dare you talk about Kamala? You want us to vote for her, don't you? So if you want us to vote for her, we need to know who we are voting for. And I got plenty to show you here. Hold on, let me do my fair use. This is fair use for entertainment purposes. You are going to learn what an establishment politician looks like. Like with Kamala, it's very obvious. Like, it's so obvious. Like, what we're going to learn, you're going to see a politician who is an obvious puppet. You know how people used to always say, oh, the politicians, they are controlled, the puppet master is in the back. Well, now we see it. Because common sense, think about it. For example, like Joe Rogan, right? He's independent. He's got huge audience. The Trump interview he did, like we're talking in the 30 millions now. But Kamala avoided that. She left all that to go to Club Shay Shay. Imagine some dude calling themselves Shay Shay, but that's none of my business. But I'm just saying, why did she avoid that? If you notice, she go to friendly places, right? Because Shay Shay is not going to push back. I'm not taking sides. I'm just showing you the obvious. Because she don't want to do what you're going to see in this video. Fair use. All right, let's get right into it. Guys, please make sure you hit the like, okay? Hit the like so that this message can reach a whole bunch of people. All right, here we go.
For the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is...
All right. So she's not going to answer the question as she's been doing. So it's very clear. They ask her a straight shot question. How many how many illegals, that you guys released in the country? Like, what's the number? So this is supposed to be a straight answer, but she's not going to answer it, and she's going to use their political tactics. How politicians, they would make it seem like the person who is asking the question is the one with the problem. That person does not understand when the question is very clear. So let's see if she's going to answer. This is a technique. She's trying to get him to get wrapped up in the fake emotion that she wants to create. As you can see, her facial expression changed. So let's see.
That we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning?
Do you guys see the fear in her face here? She got knocked off her game. When she went to CNN, you guys remember, with her vice president, Tim Walz, right? I mean, I've never seen this where, like the vice president got to come and babysit the president, the nominee. We've never seen it. But if you notice, that interview was completely different. So it makes sense that she already knew the questions and answers, and there's not going to be any pushback. And even in those interviews, you've seen her even bomb those, especially where she would be challenged. So she didn't expect this immigration question. But the voters want to know how many people came in, and Brett Baier is asking a question that we all already know about. That yes, these people brought in a bunch of illegals, and those illegals are committing crimes. So let's see how Kamala answers this. Is Kamala going to give us her policy? What is she even running on? The people are talking border groceries. Let's see what she's talking about.
Of your administration.
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan safety.
She is stalling. You see, the only reason why this is so obvious because Kamala she's not good at this. Even though they've coached her, they've trained her, she's not good at it. You know why a lot of politicians back in the days, people wouldn't even know? Because it's clear whose side the media is on. I mean, can you blame people? People they're working minimum of 40 hours. Some are working overtime. They're taking care of their children. They don't have the time, to want to, follow everything, like for things to be clear to them. So they do a lot of sound bites. They use the mainstream, to try to brainwash the people. But unfortunate for Kamala, she came at a time, it looks like too many people are feeling the pain. So they don't care about the race stuff and all that gender stuff. They want real answers. So here we go.
Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the...
She's not gonna let him talk. So the guy, Brett Baier, is like, yes, we know that bill. So in the bill that Kamala is talking about, what they passed, because you see, Trump signed what they call Remain in Mexico, because people are coming from faraway countries. So, Trump's like, okay, if you say you're running away from violence or problem from your country, I mean, you're skipping too many countries, just file asylum in those countries. So Trump is like, okay, he made a deal with Mexico where if you come, you will remain in Mexico, and while they figure out your asylum. So it's easier to reject their asylum while they're outside. They're in Mexico, and people don't want to remain in Mexico, right? So that's a deterrent. The moment they came in office, first day, we all heard Joe Biden on the campaign. He told them, he said, wait at the border, you can come in. Kamala, they signed into law. They opened up that border, they removed the remain in Mexico, and they put in that bill that they would make those people, they will give them automatic citizenship. So that's what Brett is talking about. So she is trying to interrupt him so that the people don't get to hear it. Here we go.
Yes,
May
ma'am.
I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish.
You had the
please.
White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and they
in the
didn't
middle
bring up
of
that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put...
So, bunch of, she's giving us a whole bunch of words of nothing. Okay, how can you fix something that's not broken? You broke it. You came, you broke it. So Kamala is letting us know, yeah, we broke it without telling us she broke, what she's telling us she's going to fix. First day in office, they changed what Trump had in place. So in the bill, they hid it. They wrote, because these bills are not straightforward. They, like the border bill, they put money there saying they gotta give Ukraine X amount of money. So in this bill, they put that the people that came illegally, they would make them citizens. So all this, running around she's doing, that's what the bill says. So Kamala is convinced American people are dumb. But here we go.
More resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
So she's using deflection, and she's about to go to Trump. Here we go.
Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
Democrats.
Did you guys hear this? Did you guys hear this? Mind you, Kamala Harris is the vice president. She's the current vice president and has been for almost 4 years. And she is telling us, she's literally telling us, oh yeah, we got the bill, but Donald Trump, who is not in government, by the way, he's the one that stopped it. How can Donald Trump stop it? How? He's not even the president. He's not in government. So it's a deflection tactic. So here we go. See, when a person don't want to talk about their record, imagine being the vice president for 4 years. You don't want to talk about your record. That's a problem.
voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungaran.
So they've just fact-checked her. They showed all Democrats, including Bernie Sanders, who is supposed to be super woke, they oppose the bill. It has nothing to do with Trump. What they want to run on, they want to just say Trump bad and us good, and that's good enough. They're using fear. But all these things, techniques they are using, you know, people are already like, but you've been president already. Just like they tell us, oh, Trump, you know, Trump is going to change the Constitution. No, we've listened to Trump. He's the only one saying he's not going to take the guns away. He believes in freedom of speech. Okay? But we clearly see who cracks down on people's freedom of speech and want to take their weapons away. So she is not standing on a solid ground. She changes wherever she goes. If you don't believe me, she just went to a Philadelphia black church. A Philadelphia black church. Let me show you. She did her black accent. Have you ever seen a black person pretending to do a black accent? That tells you she is not black. She says she's African American. She has zero African in her. How can she be that? But let's see her black accent and we will continue. Here we go.
May endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. The path may seem hard, the work may seem heavy, but joy cometh in the morning, and church morning is on its way.
Did you guys see that? And let me show you that this is scripted. I have facts and proofs. She's not the first one that did this. If you don't believe me, let me roll this footage. Let me roll this footage. This has happened before her, okay? Before her. This is another Democrat that had this script, also did their black accent, quote unquote, slave talk. Here we go.
From him. I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
So, you guys see that, right? So it's like when they go to black churches, why do they talk like this to black people? Is this how black people talk? And Kamala said she's black. She just did that fake accent in Philadelphia like a couple days ago. But here we go.
Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have.
So, you guys see, this is all talking point. Does this woman look like someone that cares about the pictures we've seen? They've never even mentioned them. They wanted to hide all that. So, is she going to apologize to that family? Let's find out. She does not care. So here we go.
Have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Guys, do you see how she is trying to blame Trump when she is currently in charge? They got the power. All she got to do is, like Trump explained it. Trump, when they asked him, how did you get the border closed? He said, I just signed the executive order and I said, the border is closed, and they shut it down. She can go wake Joe Biden up and be like, hey, sign this. Sign this. But let's see. Astrophoto said, ICE will knock on your door. No, that's for these illegals. So Kamala looks like your cousin Afridamus. Don't deny your black sister. Sure. Here we go. So you notice how she want to walk away from the topic of those young women getting deleted. Now she's going to try to shift the conversation onto Trump, because everything is Trump. But Trump is not in office.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss. Sincerely.
Does she look like she's sorry? Why is her nose flailing like she's upset? Why is that? Do you see the facial expression? Like she is angry. How dare you even play this woman's video for me? So you will see, you can clearly see she the type, she would use the law to her advantage. Not that she hasn't done it before, but you give her the power of the presidency. I mean, she might even pass a law and say all of us got to transition to being females. You never know. Here we go.
But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in
her?
all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
Why is she being defensive? Why is she being defensive? Not a good sign.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before.
Kamala, why don't you just vote for Trump then? So the immigration system was broken, the border was not secured before Trump, and then when he came, the border was secured. So that means Trump did a better job. This is out of her own mouth. right? But she's going to remember, oops, I messed up and told the truth, and she's going to try to dirty it up again. Because, see, you're not allowed to, say anything good about Trump. Zongo said, Afrida must give her a break. Kamala seems like a nice person. Hey, I don't doubt it. She might seem like a nice person, but that doesn't mean she needs to be in that Oval Office, though. I mean, sure, like, we can let her cook the green out of the tub, you know. Hillary can bring the hot sauce. I'll bring the chicken, and we can have a meal. But does that mean you gotta vote for her? Hey, I'm not telling anyone who to vote for. I'm just showing what's here.
Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
there were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things.
So, did you guys see what she did there? She didn't answer the question. And I like how Brett is just sitting there, letting her just ramble, give the word salad, didn't interrupt her, and just let her keep going around and around. See, when somebody who is being dishonest, you're in front of them, you're talking, don't interrupt them. Just interrupt them every now and again, and when they don't expect, you let them just keep talking. And they would catch themselves and realize, okay, you are exposing me to the people. So in the back of her head, she's only doing her talking points. Mind you, if you only focus on talking points, you cannot think. She cannot think critically. But in the process of spewing her talking points, she caught herself because she was hoping the host would interrupt her. And if he did, it would be like a kind of sort of like a shouting match. So that would pull us, the viewers. It would get people into emotional mood. Now your emotions are all in, so you won't be able to make out what is being said. You see what I'm saying? You cannot make that out. Zongo says she's actually right. She knows the system works, the executive. Zongo, you don't know what you're talking about. They've passed 90 executive orders. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, they don't need Congress for that. They opened up the border without Congress. So go on the White House website and read about this. You will see. So here we go.
To talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
So, did you guys hear? They just laid out her radical agenda. She is super radical. Yes, this was her agenda. She wants ICE abolished. She wants people to be able to come here illegally, get driver's license, become citizens, and even if they want sex change, you can change their sex for them, all with taxpayers' money. So she's going to pretend like, oh no, I changed off of that. Guys, why do you think they selected her? Why do you think they selected her? She didn't win no primary. If she can become president off of this, mind you, they did not vote for her to become the nominee. They selected her out in the open, and if people accept that, the USA is over, because that means they've just allowed someone who the people didn't pick. The system, the deep state, openly pushed her onto you, and that would be hell for the American people. And you're about to hear that as this interview continues.
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
Guys, do you know how dangerous this answer is? She said, I will follow the law. Okay, but she's not telling you what specific law. She's saying, imagine the person is telling you, give me power, I'll follow the law, but they're not telling you which law. Because mind you, she would be put in the position to be able to make laws. But what kind of law would that be? She's not telling us. She's not telling us. Yeah, like if she says, oh, I want to follow the law, and what they've asked her here, what if she implements it? You cannot come back and say she lied. You can't, because she said to all of us, I will follow the law. But what is the law? Which law are you talking about? You will have the power to make laws. Congress and all, you would have the power to sign these things. What kind of laws are you going to sign into law to make it the law of the land? But here we go.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are
Yes, you have. You have. The people that are coming in here, the people they are flying into this, you've decriminalized it. They changed the law where these people came illegally and gave them temporary stay. So under US law, that's illegal, which is why Trump said when he becomes president, all these people will be rounded up. Why else? Because they came here illegally. But here we go.
But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel.
They've already fact-checked her. She's about to lie about this. You were Attorney General of California. That's not federal, that's state. So they've already fact-checked her. But we'll let her say it anyways.
To people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Did you guys hear this? Out of her own mouth. She would give sex change to people in prison. So mind you, the people that cross the border. So you mean to tell me this person like hitchhiked all the way from Guatemala or Paraguay or wherever, or the Congo. So they came all the way to that border, just, you know, trekking, walking, and they got here. You think their biggest priority is to give them sex change? Okay, all right. Hey, you see, you heard it from her own mouth.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed.
Here we go. Here we go. So if Trump followed it, why would Trump turn that into an ad? Have you guys heard again? She said, I will follow the law. Look, if a career government employee, I don't think Kamala has ever worked private job. She lied about working at McDonald's. You guys remember? So she is, you know, she's always worked for government, taxpayers' money. That's what paid her. She is loyal to the bone. And a government person that says, I will follow the law. But which law? You got to ask them. Like, is she a machine? You know, they're just going to tell her whatever. So we have to look at who her handlers are. I will follow the law. But what if she passes the law, which she can have the power to give sex change to prisoners, like you heard her in that video. So let's see. Now she's telling us this is not true. A lot of things that people hear, you know why people are like, when you tell them, they're like, oh man, you're lying on these people. Because people themselves, even those who would support Kamala, they can't believe it. They're like, no, you gotta be lying on her. So that's why when they played the video, she looked away. She's like, oh, oops, out of my own mouth. Because she knows, like, hey, a lot of regular people, like, they would be like, whoa, wait a minute. Why is that the priority? Like, what the hell? So now she's going to blame Trump. Here we go.
You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, you know, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what, you gotta
happened
take
during his...
Guys, let's be real. Okay, if Trump is advocating according to her, guys, let's be honest. If Trump advocated for this, do you think the media would leave this behind? I mean, for crying out loud, they're trying to paint the man to be Hitler, guys. Literally. Do you know how many people Hitler deleted? So that, I mean, they are surprised. Nobody is buying it. You guys remember when they tried to take Trump out? Then Biden, even her, they all came and talked, say how sorry they were. You know, they are glad Trump is fine. Imagine, why would, if they believe truly that he is Mr. Adolf, why would you wish Adolf well if someone tried to take him out? Because what we know him to be is, they said he took millions of people out. But they said, what did Trump do? I mean, even the mainstream media, however crazy they are, even though they called him that name, they never said he deleted people. They said he hurt people's feelings with his tweet. Those tweets were funny. He's not insulting people. You know, people, the media is fragile because he's calling them out. So Kamala herself here, that tells you she's fake. You know, she would say anything to maintain power. Here we go.
Responsible for what
His
happened in your
presidency.
administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in this presidency.
It's in
So
black and white.
would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
you have a
think
say
Donald Trump would
as-
say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people.
Actually, Trump is the only one with a plan. So did you guys see how many times did she say, I would follow the law? Speaking of Mr. Adolf, you know, the guy with the half stash, do you know that what he did, the things that we are outraged by, guess what it was? It was a law that they passed over there in Germany. He was following the law. Is every law good? They just asked her, are you going to do gender reassignment? She said, I will follow the law. Hey, you got your answer. You got the answer, because once she's in charge fully, what if she makes it law? Guess what? If they ask her, oh, Madam Vice President, you said you are not for this. Oh, Madam President, you said you weren't for this. I never said that. I said, I will follow the law. And now it is law, and I'm following it. And if you notice, the media didn't talk about how Kamala's husband, Doug Emhoff, I heard he's got strong pimp hand. I mean, he pimp hand one of his ex-girlfriends in Paris. I mean, I heard he gave her the slap of the century. Before he did it, he called his bouncer to put, you know, baby powder on his hand. Gave her a slap. She spun. The lady talked about it. They didn't mention that. But with Trump, they gotta fabricate things. Oh, you know, in 1939, Trump did this to someone. That should tell you, you know, where things are. And they try to make you seem like you're a sycophant. Like, because when you see the obvious truth, oh, you're just a sycophant. No, I'm just not with the lies. Like, what is Kamala hiding? First, she says she was black. We found out she isn't black. Now she's not talking about, you know, the black skin thing. She left that alone. So black people, we better be careful. You better make sure she don't win. If she wins, oh, black people, we ain't gonna have peace. Just so you know. Because she can't believe how she's been rejected by the blacks. She even went to the church and she did the fake accent, and people are not going for it. She went to Club Shay Shay. Go check out the comments on that video. I was like, man, Kamala, it's over for her. Even Obama came out. The blacks gave him the middle finger. Look, I mean, I have never seen black people really here going the route they are going like this. They seriously. They seriously rejected her. And do you blame people? How can any sane person watch this and be like, oh yeah, yeah, she's totally honest. Oh yeah, she doesn't have anything hidden, like everything is gonna be so clean. She's going to follow the law. But she's not telling us what the law is. Trump is telling us what he wants to do. He said, drill, baby, drill. He's going to deport the illegals. He's going to close the border. He's going to, put tariffs on China, which would make companies stay here. He's going to remove taxes off of overtime, no tax on tips, which the stuff that she is stealing. But these people, they come on TV, they talk to the population as if the population, we are looking to go have dinner with the politician. Like, no, I don't care about that. Most people don't care. Just bring us laws that make sense, that would make people's life easy. Cut taxes. But I've never seen a politician who is hell-bent on raising taxes. You guys see the inflation right now. That's the taxes that went up. All that money they were printing, we are paying for all of it. That's what those, inflation's about. And if she can maintain and retain office, we are doomed. We will be broke. Here we go.
Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
on plans for the American people, I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need.
Kamala, we've seen you talking about women should delete their babies, and they call it health care. In the Democratic convention, they had a deletion bus there. This woman keeps pushing for deletion of, babies. So clearly, we can. I'm not buying it that she wants to put money aside for new mothers. How can there be new mothers when you keep bringing that deletion bus around or that deletion talk? Like Michelle Obama did the same thing, talking smack to black men. I'm going to do that video tomorrow. So just to show you how condescending these people are, they don't, these people want you to fund their lifestyle. And right now they are very, very scared of Trump. Go listen to mainstream media. They're like, oh, Trump is going to round us up. It's called projection. They've locked up all of Trump's main people. They've accused him and put all these fake charges on him, which he kept beating. And guys, think about it. They even try to take him out right in front of us. So if anyone that thinks, yes, maybe to you, you don't know who is doing this, but Trump knows. Guys, he's been a billionaire his whole life. Famous, he's had power. He became president. You don't think he's got information? He knows who pulled that drive-by on him. He knows all this. And if you're being honest, you that is watching me, when you listen to those charges, come on now. Like the one they said, that woman on CNN, I'm going to do that video. That was the funniest. When she admitted on CNN, when she said Trump raped her, and then she said it was just a fantasy. It was just a fantasy, but they still said, oh yeah, he did it. Who goes into a store, department store, as famous and popular Trump is, he would stand out. He goes into a store, sees some woman, and goes with her into a dressing room and rape her. I mean, guys, makes no sense. Makes no sense, but that didn't stop the media from exposing us to that lie. And Kamala is doing the same thing here, but she's getting a pushback. I like this pushback so that we can see, what we need to see.
My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker, would ignite inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want to...
So have you guys, politicians, do this? So they would represent themselves as representing everyone's feelings. People are tired of the division. So you think lying on Trump, calling him Adolf, that's not divisive? Creating gender divide between men and women, that's divisive. Creating division between the races, that's divisive. Like when you base things on gender, race, and fear, that's what is divisive. So we all know who is pushing division here. But let's let her keep going.
President who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country.
And Trump had already been president, by the way, Kamala. So he's a known product. All this fear-mongering, it will be hard to convince people about it. He's already been president. So we remember that. She is currently in office saying, we got to change. Yes, we're trying to change from you. But I don't think she knows that she's the one in office.
And blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden. You're not.
So she's drinking her water. She's like, I'm about to get grilled again. But if she's telling the truth, she don't have to be grilled. Yes, we can clearly see you are not Joe Biden. And she knows what we are saying, but she wants to make it sound like people are stupid.
Not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing.
So did you guys see that? She threw Joe Biden under the bus, right? So now we know why Joe Biden is now MAGA. Here we go. Do you guys see this? You see this? Joe Biden, Trump 2024. Do you guys see this? Joe Biden went MAGA. So there you have it. Here we go.
In America, and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses.
They already have that in place. You guys know the Democrats, they do this. They tell you things they're going to offer you that's already there. The first-time home buyer FHA loan, yes, you do get that help. But if you only got $25,000, you can get no home with that. Like if you got to rely on that, then you are not qualified to be looking into buying a home. So the money that you're talking about, let's just say you're starting something new. So it's a socialist system. You're just looking to take money to give to people. So, but the FHA loan, first-time home buyer program, they already have that in place. She's telling you something that's already been in place for years. So she's pretending like she's the one coming up with it, but it's already law.
Extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we have been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from...
She used the word burden, 10 years. So that would mean you do realize your party was the one in power, for most of that time. Trump only came 4 years. Before Trump, it was Obama. So you're saying Obama is terrible too. Here we go.
Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
So she wants to spew her line that she memorized. In the meantime, let's let her do this in a cartoon form.
Thank you for having me, Brad.
Thank you.
We'll see how this goes for you.
Mrs. Harris, how many people do you believe have crossed the borders? Miss Harris. Kamala, please. Mrs. Vice President, it's a simple question.
I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm speaking.
I apologize. All right, well, I'm just going to say it. She destroyed him. Oh, my God.
So,
Vice President, more than 7.
So that's how it is. It's like a machine. So she's just, you notice she's doing her talking points. This is not coming from her own thinking. She wants to distract him and talk over him.
70% of people
that is
tell
about turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, That track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Did you guys hear this? You've been in office 3.5 years, but Donald Trump has been running. Yeah, he's a candidate. He's not in office. Guys, come on now. Really? You've been in office for at least over 3 years. Her comeback is Donald Trump. He's been running for office. Okay, but he's not in office. This woman is obsessed with Trump. Here we go.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with.
So they ask her, they say, Kamala, okay, you're saying you're good at this, the economy. 79% of the country believe that the country is on the wrong track and you guys are the ones in charge. So they're pretty much calling you guys out to say you're doing a bad job. So instead of answering that, she's telling us how bad Trump is. People are exhausted. Yeah, people are exhausted by this type of talk. Oh, Trump is the divisive one. Oh, yeah, you just told us how dangerous he is, putting his life in danger. And like, come on. How is that any uniting type of talk? So, in many words, she's letting us know she has nothing to run on, and other than to say Trump is bad, but the people of the country disagree with her. So, in many words, she's letting us know the people are dumb. Who cares about what you little peasants are thinking? What the hell do you little peasants know? I will address you peasants once you play around and put me in charge. I know what to do to you. A lot of you black men, you think your name is Leonard. You about to be, LaQuisha. Tyrone, you're going to become Tanya. Yeah. You guys heard her. She's obsessed with changing men into women. So you guys better be careful out there. Here we go.
Someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
Why is she changing her voice? An answer that everybody can give. Of course, we know being, running for the highest office is not easy. So you see how she's diminishing. So is she trying to say, because if what she's saying about Trump, if that is true, why is the type of support he's getting, why is he getting that? Why is Trump beating you if what you're saying is true? But she does not want to acknowledge this. She wants to wish it away, but she can't.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
So
cakewalk
are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people.
That's actually not true. You bet. I watched Trump's rally yesterday. Wait, was that yesterday? At the Madison Square Garden? I mean, it was a blast. I mean, Trump rallies, I mean, he's over there having fun with the people. I mean, if she believes what she's saying, then why can't she should then just call the people dumb like she claimed Trump is doing if he's gaining in supporters, but she don't believe in it. Here we go.
He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying.
Yes, Kamala is right. This time, that's not the clip, but it's the same conversation. Trump, he repeats things wherever he goes to. So why are they scared of Trump coming back in charge? Trump clearly said if people, just like they did in 2020, coming out here burning down America, it's not going to happen. They would deploy the National Guard, the Army. The Army is under the president, just like they should have done in 2020. You know, they refused. So Trump said he would deploy the military, the enemy within. If you're not the enemy within, why are you so scared? You see, why are you so scared? So these Democrats are total hypocrites. I mean, even Obama came out there looking all scared. They look very scared of Trump. They know what they did to him, and we've all seen it. So it's like it's projection. Everything they're saying, they're the ones doing that currently as we speak.
About the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you.
That was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has...
Not true.
Talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about...
Bingo. So the people that went to, January 6th, were those people peaceful? We didn't see them with no weapons, none of that. Imagine they said those people were not peacefully protesting. But they showed us people burning down cities, people losing their lives. They've done that weeks after weeks. Kamala put up fund to bail those people out. That's what she is calling peaceful protests. In my city, they occupied an entire city block. I went there, I saw for myself because it's not far from me. People marching up and down my street, breaking our, car windows. No cop coming around, but they want to call that peaceful. I have pictures, videos of my car getting broken into. I have both of my cars getting broken into. Even my prized possessed car that I hide, they found a way to it to try to, steal it. I don't forget that. Causing us damage. Do you know how much money it cost me to fix all that? Because it's like the insurance, you know, basically now they're just scamming you. Because if you like your deductible is like higher than what it would cost to even fix it. So, you know, you're like, okay, I might as well just fix it myself so that your premium doesn't go up. All that's happened. Did we get compensated for it? Absolutely not. This is why we need Trump in office, so we can write letters to Trump and let him know what happened to us in 2020. We need our reparation checks for that. Here we go.
Locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is
may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. The path may seem hard, the work may seem heavy, but joy cometh in the morning.
That's right. That's Black
you
Kamala.
have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump, you call Donald Trump, he's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not.
Sure, Kamala. We are all here watching you. We are watching you. You are telling us Trump is unstable. Okay. All right.
Well, you say he's mentally not stable?
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
Do you guys see this? This is Joe Biden falling down nonstop throughout his presidency. So he wasn't on his game. And Kamala knew this. You see? Look at her laughing over there. You see that? That's right. That's her for you. Oh, sorry.
Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including...
She's not answering the question. They just asked her, did you know, before you guys did the coup to out Joe Biden, did you already know that Joe Biden was unstable? Oh no, she went straight talking about Trump. So she's not answering the question. Here we go.
Leaders of our national security community have all spoken out, even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah. We already know that there is 51 quote-unquote intelligence people who told us how unstable Trump was. They told us Hunter's laptop was a lie. Turns out Trump was right. Okay? Yeah, sure. Some of you that are super sensitive can say, oh, I don't like Trump because the TV people told you not to like him. That's cool. But, you know, it's like, at least with Trump, he is consistent. Even Oprah and all those people, they loved him. He's never changed. They changed. How can you criminalize a man who wants his country to be great? Make that make sense. So Kamala is saying, oh, those insiders are saying Trump is not fit to be president. Well, the people get to decide that, ma'am. The people get to decide this. But here we go.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
but those
is,
proxies were getting funded by
my commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates in billions.
So, really, do you guys see how she's deflecting? China is the real threat to America. So, why is she saying Iran? Why is that? Hold on, let me show you guys Doug Emhoff's, strong pimp hand. So you guys see what I was talking about. You guys see that? Oh, hold on. Wrong one. You guys see that? Yeah, that's Doug Emhoff here. He's got strong pimp hand. I can't believe what he's accused of. Imagine you're this guy's girlfriend, and because you just mistakenly say hello to the valet guy, and then he calls over his little minion and say, pour some powder, baby powder, in my hand. And then he gave this woman a 360 slap with baby powder on his hand. This is who Emhoff is. Strong pimp hand. Here we go.
During Donald Trump's
that
administration, that Iran
regime,
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention how Donald Trump has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers.
Do you guys see how she's not allowing the guy talk? I mean, really? We all know Trump didn't start no new wars. She really thinks this is like some, you know, some bickering stuff, you know, some democratic bickering. Lady, you can distract us. She's definitely not fit. And that's what's dangerous, because we don't have the puppets. We don't know who her puppet master is. I'm sure some of you have an idea. Okay, here we go.
Has diminished the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
Well, I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision
and there are critics
that they feel.
Who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have much more to say,
there are a lot of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why we invited you
everyone
here.
to.
Hold on. Those of you that came late, let me play Kamala's auntie's speech for you. Before her auntie did this first, and she lost too.
Freedom hymn. I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that I have 80.
That's Hillary's black church accent, and Kamala did hers too.
Pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
and that's why we invited you here,
our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
and
they're giving me a hard rap here.
Well, I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
You guys heard that.
Right? Oh, golly, he's so embarrassed. I bet those Republicans are regretting that one. Kamala! Kamala! Kamala!
Yeah. You guys see that, right? So, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. And yeah, Kamala did not answer the questions. They wanted her to talk about herself. Trump is very well known. So she should have used the opportunity to talk about herself. But instead, she evaded all the questions and she didn't answer any of them. And today, like, she went to Club Shay Shay. Shannon, my goodness. You guys should go see the comment section, how people are totally cooking her. Rasmus said, by the way, Puerto Rico is a floating island of garbage. I know, man, I saw that. And, you know, the media, they are so pissed off. You know, like when they said, Trump said, Africa is a shithole. But the same people that pretend to be mad, you know, you see them, the things they say about Africa is even worse. So, guys, I wouldn't open the line because it's late for me over here. We would be here all night, but I would be sure to make sure this week we are packed, you know, having our discussions per usual. I was busy running around the country to go make sure everything is good with Kamala. Okay, and I was trying to catch her laughing, and I feel so sad that Kamala is no longer doing this kind of laugh.
Poor hubby. Poor hubby.
Oh man. Until next time, I will see you guys on the next one, and I hope I didn't, cause you guys any nightmares. That's not my intention. Just wanted to touch that, and you clearly see it. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but make sure you vote wisely. You heard the lady. She says she's going to follow the law, but we don't know what that law is. I'm out.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you. Big flex, my swole up, double cup and I'm pulled up. Niggas hating like hoes.